Hi everyone, I'm Brahmachari Jemal, and I'm going to read a shloka from the Gita today, and then just briefly talk about it for a few minutes. So this is from chapter 5, and this is the 15th stanza. The all-pervading is not concerned about people's sins or virtues. Wisdom is eclipsed by cosmic delusion. Mankind thus becomes bewildered as to the difference between right and wrong. So I'll start with a little story. There was a young man in his guru's ashram, and he went there and everything was progressing just nicely. For a few years he was learning the teachings, practicing them, meditating, feeling a deep sense of peace. Everything was fine. But somewhere inside, just a little something, he always wondered, is there a little more? There must be something a little more. But he was generally happy, so he kept going on. But one day he overheard some other brahmacharis, and this one was saying the secret teaching. And he thought, oh, is there? And then those two, they just kind of scurried away. But then that got something in his mind, thinking, is there some secret teaching? Is there a teaching that I don't know about? And he wondered about this for a few months, and finally he got up the courage to ask one of these older brahmacharis. And that brahmachari said, I can't speak about these things. You'll have to ask the master. So now he was really wondering, there must be a secret teaching, and this is the thing that I've been looking for my whole life. And so for a few months he was wondering, trying to get up the courage to ask the guru to think about this. So one fine day, the guru gives a satsang, and afterwards, usually people would congregate around the guru, and they would stay until the guru left. But this particular time, everyone had different duties, and this young man finally finds himself alone with the guru. And he thinks, this is it. This is my moment to ask about the secret teaching. Finally, I'm going to know what the secret thing is. And of course, he had a true guru. His guru was omniscient. He could read his mind. He said, oh, my son, would you like to know the secret teaching? And at this point, the young man, he's just, filled with so much joy, he can hardly contain himself. The guru leans over and whispers in his right ear, take it easy. And that's it. That was the secret teaching. But all of us, that we have something inside of us that wonders, is there some secret going on? Is there something that I'm missing? There must be more. There is something that we're missing. It's that peace of God. It's knowing God 100% within ourselves. It's the ability to grab on to that deep, deep peace of God whenever we want it. And we will learn how to do that with deep attunement, with the Master, with the Gurus, with God, with devotion plus Kriya Yoga. It's everything. Anyway, so I told that because the all-pervading is not concerned about people's sins or virtues. And, when we first read this, we think, all right, I get to do whatever I want. God doesn't care about my sins or my virtues, that I could just do whatever I want. And now, if you really understand this teaching, that you will gain that inner peace that I was talking about in that story. But you have to read this carefully, that the all-pervading is not concerned about people's sins or virtues. Okay, but he is concerned about you, and he's concerned about your well-being. And if you just go on doing sins, then your well-being is going to not be in a state of inner peace, that you're going to feel conflicted and in a state of inner turmoil. So God does care very much about you, but there is a part of God that is above all of this. And we want to learn how to get into that state where we too can be above it all. We all have good karma, bad karma, but we're not that karma, that we're something that's beyond all of that. We're something that's much deeper. And if we can learn to go inside in the state of meditation, we can learn how to touch that. And then eventually we learn how to touch that at will. And it's really actually simple to learn how to get our concentration up here and to be able to stay here at all times. It's a simple teaching, an easy teaching, but it takes time in order to feel energy deeply enough, in order to be able to do that, and in order to make our energy flow strong enough that we can overcome Maya. Another point that I want to make on this first line here, with the all-pervading not being concerned about people's sins or virtues is it's much easier for us to see this outside ourselves in other people. Let's say someone you know comes and steals 1,000 rupees from you. It's very easy to think, I don't like that person, he's no good, he stole 1,000 rupees from me, I'll never talk to him again. And what we need to do is separate here that person from the sin he committed. Obviously it was wrong for him to steal 1,000 rupees, but he is not that act. He committed that act, it was wrong, but it doesn't mean that he necessarily will do it again. And perhaps we can explain to him nicely, kindly, that this was wrong, I hope that you'll return it. But the real point here, where we won't lose our inner peace, is if we can separate the person, means the soul, from that action. And when we can begin to do that with people outside of ourselves, then slowly, slowly, we can begin to do that with our own selves. And we can see that all these actions that we're doing, they're not really who we are. You know, there's this place in California called Disneyland, and they have a ride there where you get in this boat, and it has this steering wheel. And I think Swamiji saw, I don't know, some man and wife, and they were on this ride, and the man says to his wife, "Shh, stop it! I have to control this boat, otherwise it's going to crash." But you see, if you look at that ride in Disneyland closely, underneath there's metal tracks, and the boat is going on these metal tracks, and it doesn't matter what you do with the steering wheel, it's actually not connected to anything. And in some way, our lives are just like that our karma, it's going on, but we have to gain sufficient awareness to understand that we're not that karma. And yet, we still want to, while we still think that we are that karma, fine. Keep trying to strive to have better and better karma. But this is a fascinating question to think about. That let's say you meditate 1 hour today, or let's say you meditate 3 hours today. Is that karma? I think that it is. And so, will it even be our karma on the day that we go so deep in meditation that we achieve liberation? I think so. And so, of course, we have to begin to strive to get better and better karma. Another very fascinating question to ask in this same line of thinking about karma is that karma really is another word just for our desires, that we're impelled by our desires, and that we're going out and doing this and doing that, thinking that it's going to make us happy. But this is a very important question to ask yourself. Where do desires come from? That we know that desires aren't the answer, but if you really go deeply and ask yourself, where is it that these come from? Then you begin to see that they come from our past habits. And it's not so much that ice cream in and of itself is this wonderful thing that makes every human being happy. If it made every human being happy, bar none, 100%, then maybe we could say, maybe there is something to that ice cream. But when you see one person get so much joy from it, and another person goes, oh gosh, no, please, no more, I can't stand that stuff, then you wonder, why is it? And then you begin to realize that it's just habits, and that actually that inner joy, that inner peace, that it's inside our own selves. And once you gain that plus Kriya, and you learn how to control that inner joy simply by raising your energy to different levels within yourself, then you have it. And then you can sit for deeper and deeper meditations, longer and longer, and you can gain a peace that is just absolutely unbelievable. That you'll feel, I don't even deserve this much peace, but you do deserve it. That it's your birthright, that God took you out of this. You know, the other thing about this stanza is God's admitting He's the one who did it. He's the one who's made all this Maya. He's the one who's made all sin, and that He's also the one who's made all good. And the very important thing about this stanza is that we, more than even our karma, good karma, bad karma, in every moment we get to choose. And we get to choose, are we going in the direction of good, or are we going in the direction of bad? That Master said, God doesn't mind your faults, He minds your indifference. And if we can get to a point where we can begin to think, I want to choose good in every moment. You know, recently I've just been thinking, I was talking about this out on the land, that if you realize you get a finite number of breaths every day, And if you start thinking about that, and you can think about what it means to be a yogi and what you want to do with your number of breaths, and fine. But the point here is, once you get that realization, you also get the realization you have a finite number of thoughts every day. It seems like they're infinite, like I'm just thinking this and this and this. But when you really start watching your thoughts all day long, you realize it is a finite number. And you realize, hey, there's a little game going on here. And now every thought that I get, whatever the number is, let's just say 20,000 thoughts per day. I have no idea if that's true. But you say, wait, this is finite. And I could make this good, 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 joy, 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 positive, positive. Or I could make this hate, that guy's fault, it's always my mother-in-law, and why did God make me born like this and that? And you can have 20,000 of these. But you're the one who's going to be suffering if you have those, and you say, wait, I'm going to have these good ones here. And then you start to choose, and you realize it's not easy to make your thoughts positive all the time. But with a little bit of Kriya Yoga, with a little bit of Hong Sa, you realize, wait, I can do this. And then there's another level to evolution, and that is, why don't I be thinking about the highest thought all day long? If there's one thought, the highest thought, what is it? And that is God. And we realize that we want to keep our mind on God all day long. And it's totally possible to be able to do that. And once we get to that point, we will realize how to go deep within and be able to keep our mind really fixed on one thing. And when we keep our mind fixed on God, God is joy. And then we automatically are joyful all the time, and life is perfect. It all comes down to our attitude, that sometimes we go through life and our attitude's fine, and people do the worst things to us, and we go, oh, it's okay, it's all right, God bless you. And sometimes people do just the smallest thing to us, and we say, why did you do that to me? But we learn how to gain control over our attitude. We learn how to gain control over our energy. So wisdom, even though it is the natural state of man, is eclipsed by cosmic delusion. This cosmic delusion, it is our karma, it is Maya, but we can learn how to rise above that. It's fascinating that the masters, they're completely above their own karma. They're even above our karma. And they can mix and match and take this little bad karma of ours and put it away over there and open up the window enough for us to be able to see that we've always been free, and then give us that little bad karma later, whatever the case may be. But don't just think, oh, the guru has that power. Oh, he can do it. I'm not me. Gosh, if you only saw my sins. Right here, God's not concerned with your sins. He doesn't care. All he cares about is, do you love me? And it becomes so simple that if we can just say, yeah, I did it, but God knows, and God, this is a really good trick, really. You say, God, you're the one who did it through me. Put the blame on him. Master says he likes that. Why does he like it? Because you're thinking about him. That if you really love him, you're thinking about him at all the times. And if you really do this, and I've done it, I've had all kinds of bad habits, but one by one we can get rid of these things and we can go towards the good. But I say, I didn't do that. You did it. You did it through me. And okay, I did it. But really, you did it through me. You start saying that, and then the next time that opportunity comes to do that wrong thing, you think, wait a minute, that I want to have a perfect relationship with God. I want to have this to be a loving relationship, not a blaming relationship with God. I don't want to have to blame him again. Maybe I'll just choose not to do this. And we also say, God, I need your strength to help me learn how to not do this. If you ask him for that strength, if you draw on that strength, he'll give you strength to be able to do anything that you want. Anything that you want. Do you believe me when I say that? Anything that you want? You can literally have anything that you want in this world. Anything. Anything. Believe that. It's true. You can have anything. But we go through incarnation after incarnation thinking, I want good health, I want wealth, I want power, I want position, I want this, I want that. And we try it all by the end, and we realize it never works. But you need not try 591 varieties of ice cream. You can figure it out after 3 types that it's just simply not going to work. And then you can begin to say, God, I want you alone, you alone. The last sentence in this stanza is, man thus becomes bewildered as to the difference between right and wrong. And we all are suffering in different degrees of this bewilderment of not knowing what is right or wrong. But you don't have to live under 100 million billion rules, thinking I studied all the scriptures and Master says this is right and this is wrong, and if I do this 3 days a week, then I am a virtuous person, and if I do it 4 days a week, then I'm a sinner. It's not like that. You don't have to memorize all these rules. There's only one rule, and it frees you from all the rest of the rules. And that one rule is love God. It's so simple. And of course it's hard to love God in the beginning because God is abstract. God's a concept. God's something all pervading and all these stars and everything, and we don't know what it means. Well, you can begin by loving your neighbor. You can begin by loving the people that are around you, no matter what. You can begin by making a better relationship with the Guru. Read a little bit of his teachings every day. You don't read those teachings so that you can memorize the rules and impress all of your friends with how much knowledge you have. You read a little bit of Master every day so that you can be in tune with him, so that you can be in tune with his consciousness. So by the end you can feel, I'm not the one thinking these thoughts. Give it all back to him. You're not the one thinking those thoughts. He's the one thinking those thoughts through you. And he can help put better and better thoughts in your mind. Day by day you can grow towards the light. Day by day you can get stronger and stronger and better in every way. Or day by day you can go the other way. That just like being in a pool, that you're either up on the top and you're moving and you're swimming, or you're sinking. And there's really no middle ground where you're just kind of sitting there in the pool. That you're either up and moving and on top, or you're going down. And the spiritual path is just that way. And I did not like that thought at all in the beginning. I thought, can't I just find a plateau and take it easy for a little bit? But that taking it easy, it's an inner state of consciousness. It's your inner peace. But outwardly, we have to keep trying. It's the strangest thing that we have to try, even though it really doesn't matter. Everything's a paradox on the spiritual path. I'll end with just this little thing that once I said to Swami that it was in the AY, I'm not going to go in the details of it, but I said that on the one hand, Paramahansa Yogananda says this, and on the other hand, he says this. For example, that if you kill a man in war, that sometimes they put a medal on you and they say, oh, what a hero, what a hero. Somebody else kills a man over here, they say, what a sinner, put him in jail, he's not fit for society. And you wonder, what is right? What is wrong? Why are there all of these paradoxes? And I asked Swamiji, I said, how do we know what is right and what is wrong? And he said that you will find that there are many paradoxes on the spiritual path, but that you have to go on the inside, and that you have to make this relationship with God now, when it's easy. Ask him in little things, then find out if your inner attunement is right or wrong. And then when the big tests come, you'll be ready, that you'll have that strength, and know that God never gives you any test that you're not ready for, that he's designed your life just perfectly. It's perfect the way that he's designed it. He's given you every little test just to make you stronger and stronger, that the wrestler, if he just wrestles with weaklings all day long, he won't get stronger. He has to find someone who's just a little bit stronger than him, and then give it everything that he has and wrestle with him and see that he can win. And when he does, then he becomes stronger. So whatever tests come at you, give it everything that you have, but the only test that matters is the test of, am I with God? Are you there, God? Or are we just out there alone thinking I'm just going to handle this one on my own? That you must do it with God. And in that way you will get to this state where your inner peace will never be shakeable, ever, ever, ever. And that you will have the story from the beginning, that you will be able to take it easy always, always, no matter what happens outwardly. Thank you so much. We'll conclude now with an Arati.